Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Man, We're Too Old for This, here on the Nerdturnal Network. I'm your host, the experienced some call Jason, and with him today is...
Bob.
The token reads right to left, Tarky.
CDO 113.
And today we're going to be talking about some news out of Marvel Comics. We're going to be talking about... They've made some changes to Franklin Richards, and we're going to talk about those changes and the retcon gimmick that they use fairly often.
Yeah.
So, not to insult Danny, but Todd, you're kind of the Marvel guy. Give us the rundown on Franklin Richards.
I used to be happier about that title than I am now. Oh, you're the Marvel guy? That's right, I am. It's nice. You're the Marvel guy? But anyway, it's an issue of Fantastic Four. Writer Dan Slott made a change to Franklin Richards, where you had Professor X. Let me tell the story this way. You had a four-part miniseries called X-Men Fantastic Four, where Jonathan Hickman's douchebag X-Men basically stole Franklin Richards from his loving parents because he was an Omega-level mutant, and they couldn't have that in the hands of humans. From the beginning of Dawn of X, literally from the first issue, you had Cyclops kind of telling the Fantastic Four, let Franklin know he can come be with his people, and it's always been implied that at some point they were going to go after Franklin. Well, they go after Franklin. They manipulate him. That's not an exaggeration if you read the book. They literally plot out how can we manipulate this boy to come to Krakoa because he's too powerful to be with his parents. Now, so you go through all of that, and in a recent issue of, I think it's the latest issue of Fantastic Four, you have Professor X talking to Franklin because Franklin goes to go through a gate, and Professor X says you can't go through. Why? Because you're not a mutant. What, huh? It was like, nope, you're not a mutant. You're a cosmic being, and you are so powerful that when you were young, you wanted to be special. So you basically gave yourself an X gene. But it's basically not real. You basically power cosmic it. And you're not welcome on Krakoa. And you've had, the fan reaction has been,
the hell?
Yeah. Because Franklin Richards has been a mutant from
childhood.
From his creation.
Yeah.
And you've had a bad reaction from the fandom because it does fly in the face of a whole lot of stuff. You get the impression that behind the scenes is Hickman and Slott basically having a measuring contest. You did this to my character, I want my character back. That kind of thing. But my question, the thing that had me come up with this was the fans being upset. I get it if you're kind of new to the hobby, but if you're an old head, my God, how many cheap changes and tricks have we lived through?
Yep.
It's at some point, why do you care? Well, he's not a mutant. Okay. Hell, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver aren't mutants. Now.
And I don't think people were happy about that one either, back when they did that.
But the trick is, why do you care? It's I think one of the books I'm behind, I think they say somebody finally asked the Scarlet Witch if she wants to come to Krakoa, which with Hickman's X-Men, I wouldn't do that because unless something's changed, they really don't like her.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those things. I can remember when Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were Magneto's kids. I can remember when they weren't Magneto's kids.
Yep.
I can remember that whole revelation. It was like, oh, guess what? That's really Magneto's kids with his first wife. It's like, oh, well, okay, whatever.
To me, okay, that explains Quicksilver's hair.
Yeah.
Looks just like Magneto's when he's not wearing the helmet.
Well, originally they thought they were the Wizard's kids, and everybody went, well, that explains Quicksilver's speed.
Yep. Yeah.
There was no explanation for the Scarlet Witch, but
Well, they went. I can't say fairly quick, but they did back in that time when they were. Was it Wanda Frank? When they thought they were the Wizards kids, it was in and around there that you had Cathan show up and it was like, "Ha, you're part demon." And it was like, "Oh, makes sense." You would have been some kind of energy wielding mutant, but I needed a vessel.
Congratulations.
And I decided to give a chick a chance.
Well, that's how Agatha Harkness got involved and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's it's the Scarlet Witch Vision miniseries where you find out. Because you know Magneto is like looking for him or something. Because he wrecks Agatha's house, but she's very unimpressed with him. And then as soon as he leaves, she just kind of snaps her fingers and puts her house back together.
Well, yeah.
Because she is basically a Magneto level magician.
Yeah.
Power wise, they're both kind of up there.
Yeah. Agatha's rough. She was really rough. Especially once you find out that the Salem 7, I think it was, it burned her at the stake, and it really didn't even slow her down.
She's one of those that even Strange. I mean, he may disagree with her, but he don't insult her because it's like that would be a fight that would level.
She's not human.
Yeah.
And that's this is off subject, but that's the trick in Marvel of there are human practitioners, and then there are whatsits.
Yeah, she's
a whatsit. They generate magical power. Odin, Loki, Dormammu. That's what always set Dormammu apart, is he's not human, so his body generates mystical energy. Where a human needs tomes, artifacts, or they ask for boon.
Yeah, or they make deals with things,
Yeah. But anyway, that's the big to do is Professor X with slot writing basically goes, you're not a mutant, keep your ass out of Krakoa. And it was, Slot getting his character back.
Despite the fact that it was basically a couple months ago, they went, he is a mutant and we want him seriously bad.
Oh, well, yeah. Franklin like I said, has been a mutant since the 70s.
Yeah.
Was it the 70s? Because he came out in 68.
It's whenever Days of Future Past is what, late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And you remember he was one of the prisoners in the camp when they escaped. In fact, hell, he was Rachel's boyfriend. Because she goes almost catatonic when you have a Sentinel disintegrating. It may have been the early 80s.
Yeah, I think that.
Late 70s, early 80s, somewhere in there.
81.
Okay.
Was that the first time they talked about him being a mutant, or had it come up in FF4?
No. He was blasting the hell out of stuff damn near as a baby. Okay. Franklin's always been freakish. When you had little kid Franklin, and they showed him playing with a toy rocket, and the rocket was flying around the Baxter building. And then you have like his mom put his toys away, and then they show you the back of the rocket. Yeah, and it was just a plain old plastic rocket. There was no motor or anything like that. It was him doing it with his power.
Yeah. Everybody thought it was Reed giving him something to play with.
They thought it was one of his daddy's gadgets. No, it was just plain old
plastic
rocket.
Yeah, he also, as a little kid, ran around with a power pack some.
Yeah, he was Tattletale. And that was, like I said, that was Chuck's thing, was like, you've had all these different incarnations. You've been Tattletale, you've been, I think it was Power something, you've been this and that and the other. And it was just you want to be special. And we ain't having no fake mutants in Krakoa. So basically, we're going to let this Omega-powered cosmic be raised by humans, which is, let's be honest, if Slot wanting his character back, to hell with it making sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if Franklin still had that, Omega level power, how would you go and piss off an Omega level power thing? All he's got to do is snap his fingers and Krakoa is gone.
Right now, he doesn't have access to his full abilities. Now that's playing the risk that he will never get them back, which is bullshit.
Yeah,
he'll get them back.
Yeah, he'll get them back, and that's probably how they'll fix this whole X-Men Krakoa.
And the thing is, I can't see, like I said, if you're an old fan and you upset, well, I'm mad that he isn't a mutant. Well, remember after Heroes Return? He was a baby Celestial.
Yeah.
There's the whole reason you had the Celestials involved in that story was like, you create universes, you're one of us.
To be fair, though, have they not implied that mutancy may have been partially caused by the Celestials? Because you know they've tinkered with humanity throughout history.
Well, yeah, this latest run of Avengers thing, you find out they basically go the fact that Earth has superpowers at all, basically, is because you had a Celestial die on the planet.
So him being a baby Celestial would not stop him from being a mutant. That may just be the stages.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the time that they went, he's a Celestial, you did not, well, other than Apocalypse being kind of hinted at being one, that ain't something that they just kind of flat out said.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't going, you a mutant. They were going, you a Celestial. You just a kid. Because, even amongst mutants, there ain't a whole hell of a lot of them that can create a universe. It's, like I said, it's one of them kind of things I can see the upset because story-wise, the way it was going, it busts up continuity pretty bad. Leaves a lot of holes. But as far as I'm mad that he ain't a mutant. Well, he's been a baby Celestial. He's been, hell, you find out that, hell, when he's grown, Galactus is his herald. So,
yeah.
Even the Immortal Hulk and the Marvel 1000 book that came out earlier this year basically show that Franklin and Galactus are the last living things in that universe.
I'd forgotten about that until you said that Galactus was his herald. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he bitched up Galactus. And then,
And you've had other versions of the universe where he ends up Galactus.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, truthfully, that was the whole thing in this, was he's the last thing that's not Galactus in this universe, and he's the thing that's supposed to carry it over into the next one. Because when you read the Immortal Hulk kills his ass and takes his place. So, like, they have shown you glimpses into the next universe. Yeah, where the Hulk is the Galactus type figure in that he's the world breaker. He don't eat your planet, he smashes it. And sometimes most of your galaxy. Because he's a giant glowing eternity-sized rage monster.
Yeah. Ding dong. World breaker here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it beats the Galacti from Marvel Zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. And the Galactus Swarm from Ultimates. What is it? A big old swarm of space bugs.
Yeah, well, the less said about that, the better. I guess space bugs are marginally better than the space tornado from the movies.
Yeah, the Cloud.
If they had done the Cloud as his entry, coming into our atmosphere, and then once that kind of settled, like, how you had in Independence Day,
don't try to fix it, Danny. Don't try to fix it.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying, if it had been, okay, yeah, that's just his entry.
Don't try to fix it.
Yeah, that was the whole point.
There was no reason to have the Cloud, period.
Yeah, they didn't want a giant purple man. They said a giant purple man was stupid. But a sentient Cloud, that made sense.
Apparently, a silver guy riding a surfboard.
Why would Cloud need a herald? Anyway, but yeah, that's the latest Marvel kerfuffle.
So what are some other gimmicks they've done like this? I know things like the Jane Foster Thor, or the Falcon Captain America, or the Bucky Captain America. I know all of those kind of fall into the same sort of thing. Though it's a little different because you're not necessarily retconning, but it's the temporary gimmick thing.
Yeah. You got the huge one with Spidey.
Yeah.
In the whole one more day.
Well, you've had replacement of Spider-Man more than once.
No, that was not a replacement. I'm talking about one more day
was
the
a
thing
complete story change.
that ended the marriage to him and Mary Jane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
by making a deal with the devil, which was completely out of character for the character. Hell, I think did Slot do that? Hell, I think Slot did that too. But yeah,
no, that was dude that did Babylon 5 in Rising. The Rising Star.
yeah, that was presents.
Because he was being forced into it though, and he disliked it so much he refused to let him put his name on the last issue of the story.
Yeah, that is right.
Now, who took over right after that, I don't know, because that was like his last issue.
Because you've had two somethings, but I can't remember the name of that last one because you had one more day that ended the marriage, and that was the whole thing where they basically retconned the story and said, okay, so all the stories that were Peter and MJ when they were married, like him becoming an Avenger and then moving in, all that happened. They just weren't married. And then you had the overwrite thing that happened. You remember after Civil War when he told everybody his identity, and then you had that big story that basically got rid of that because up until that point, you know, Peter he had like they given him organic web shooters and all this kind of crap, and you had, I forget what the hell the name of that arc was though, but you had that arc that basically kind of plugged in some holes. He got the mechanical web shooters back. Everybody forgot his secret identity, and
now what they did,
Harry came back.
What they take the spider dudes and say, oh, you know, he did that because we needed a face, and he pretended to be us or something.
Nope. No, you have another company. You have another fix. You have another event happen that's a fix, but I forget what the hell the name.
It was Doctor Strange or something, because the making them forget his identity was a spell. Because the woman he was dating during the Spider Island stuff, she finally clicks with her that he's Spider-Man because he gets on TV and goes, "I'm Peter Parker and I have spider powers."
Yeah.
Now at the time, everybody in Manhattan, half of Manhattan did, so nobody else clicked that it was Spider-Man, but that technically broke the spell, which means people could start figuring it out again.
But there was something that, like I said, it's still involved in a something, because I can remember the end of it. One of the things was not just that people forgot his identity. You see the thing and you see his mechanical web shooters up under there. He screwed with time again. It may have been Strange that did it, but it was involved in a story.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he got rid of his ability to speak to insects too, I think.
Mechanical web shooters. People forgot his identity, and Harry Osborn came back from the dead. It was a story. But I forget what the hell the overarching thing of it was. But that was another one where they took it and they retconned the hell out of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But they did that kind of defaulting it back to its standard.
Yeah.
So I don't think people were as upset about that.
And up until that point, Spider-Man was around with stingers.
Yeah.
He had organic webs and stingers.
Yeah, the Kane clone, I think, still has those.
Yep. Yeah.
I know he had those as of the Spider Island stuff, I think.
Yeah.
But with this as the most recent big retcon, like it's just for you guys, it's just another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now for people that only been collecting for 5 or 10 years,
Yeah. And I confess to being guilty of that sometimes myself, because I can't stand Hickman's retcon of the X-Men. Because House of X and Powers of 10, that whole thing is a huge retcon of X-Men.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's really huge, because it basically goes that everything that happened from Grant Morrison's run up into the beginning of House of X, none of that shit happened. A versus X, the X-Men Inhumans versus Inhumans, none of that shit happened.
Well, wouldn't that mean that then, if none of that stuff happened, why would they be bad at Scarlet Witch?
That's just it. He picks and chooses.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't say none of it happened then if he's picking and choosing.
But That's the thing is most of that history, didn't happen.
Yeah, that
Genosha still happened, but none of the rest of that shit did. That's by, like I said, when you do those huge retcons like that, it leaves plot holes. Because that's a plot hole when you go read House of X and they talk about Scarlet Witch. Yeah, they basically like, when they're doing threats to mutants, they basically go, they have two big events. Cassandra Nova wiping out Genosha, and Scarlet Witch is no more mutants. And they specifically are saying there that, the two biggest hits done to us were done by, mutate variants.
Yeah.
Because they won't call them, since Scarlet's not a mutant, they call her something else.
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova was a mutant, though, wasn't she?
Nah, she was some kind of alien spirit, something, a Mumundry or some shit like that. Charles Xavier's spiritual evil. Her background is so fucked up, screwed up. It's the reason why she can do like nano sentinels and shit like that to mutants, but it don't affect her. It's because she's some kind of alien parasite, something that got in.
Okay, so the original idea that she was Charles's long lost twin sister was not a
they didn't.
That stuck around.
It didn't last to her second appearance.
Oh, okay.
Because the minute in that first or second story when the Shi'ar get involved, they immediately go, oh, she's this Mumundry and it's some kind of psychic parasite alien something. They got in there and was like becoming a copy of something of Charles kind of, and Charles kind of choked out in the womb. Her background is. Her background is Marvel not having decent editors anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
it all
Marvel's
goes back to not having a competent editor in chief.
She was one of those characters where you just went, it's his long lost sister or something. Okay. When they had to take it into some place that was so damn weird and twisted. And that was them. That was them in the beginning of their Charles Xavier is actually an asshole thing, which is kind of a return to his character. But
yeah. The original Charles was an asshole.
Yeah.
But like an asshole with reason, but still.
Still an asshole.
Yeah, like
he could do things to the original.
Being kind to do it.
Yeah, the original X-Men books. Yeah, you got the impression that he was using his powers to keep the X-Men around to do his bidding. Because every time one of them thought about going and doing something else, they'd turn around and be like, "No, I think I'm gonna stay." Yeah, Charles was fucking with him.
Maybe.
That was for sure something. That was something they heavily implied in Ultimate X-Men.
Yeah. Now, Ultimates, it was to the point that, the kind of screwed up thing is Ultimate Charles. Everything I hated about Ultimate Charles Xavier is Charles Xavier now.
Mm-hmm. Ultimates is a cancer in Marvel that they'll never quite get rid of.
No.
It leaks into the movies. It leaks into the current books. Even though it failed, they will not let it go completely.
Well, that's because one section of it succeeded. Ultimate Spider-Man succeeded.
Yeah, it ain't around no more, though.
No, but that's because they pulled the plug on it to introduce it into the 616. Like, they pulled the plug on it. I believe it was still making money when they pulled the plug.
Yeah, you might have a point, because Spider-Girl was, too.
Yeah. By the time they pulled the plug, it wasn't Peter no more, but yeah.
But it was so profitable.
That's where the Immortal Hulk comes from, too. The way how his character was, fucked up.
No. Immortal Hulk is...
Immortal Hulk...
They made him just tied him to a demon. The Ultimate Hulk, and that was just... Like everything in Ultimates, nothing was a hero, and everything was taken to its disgusting extreme. So
it was the characters from The Boys.
And even that, it was the second version of Hulk. Because originally he
Yeah.
popped up in the Ultimate Marvel team up, and it was a pretty standard Hulk.
Yeah.
It was
But the one that got the most play was the one after he mixed the Captain America's blood with the Hulk serum and juiced himself up with it.
that's when you got
Because
cannibalistic
Ultimate-
Hulk and stuff.
Yeah, he went from green to gray. And that gray version, well, the trick was he was the opposite of everything Banner was. Banner was a vegan, Hulk was a cannibal. You know, Banner was kind of sexually repressed. Hulk was a complete freak. Yeah, he was livable.
Yeah.
But like I said, that was that universe. That universe. The thing that I did not like about that was exactly what Hickman brought to X-Men, to 616 X-Men. I didn't like Charles Xavier in that world because he was a bigot. The only difference between him and Magneto is they couldn't agree on body count.
Yep.
Magneto was basically going, kill all the humans that we don't decide to make slaves. Charles Xavier was basically like, we can show humans that they should give us the world to run. They both were like, we are better than you. We are better than you in every conceivable way. Charles was saying you should give us the world to run. Magneto was going, we just kill all of them and take it. That was it. And Ultimate Xavier was screwing with his kids' heads to the point that, hell, you had Storm sitting there going, I feel like a black person handing out leaflets to a Klan rally. I know this ain't me.
Yeah. Well, hell, first time you see the Nick Fury, the Black Nick Fury with the X-Men, he's like, I'm pretty sure you're fucking with my head, you know.
I don't know, they were back as the Ultimate dark ass. I was into it early because it dealt a lot with super soldiers. I always thought the super soldier thing was kind of cool. But it got to a point where I was like, there ain't a hero in none of this shit I'm reading, and it's starting to wear on me.
Yep.
It's levels of douchebag.
Yeah. That was my problem with Ultimates. I burned down on it pretty quick.
Like I said, I only stuck around as long as I did because I thought the whole thing of, okay, they created Captain America, and it created an arms race. That made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody and their mama would want one.
I stuck with it because the Ultimate Spider-Man video game for the PS2 was real good.
And Ultimate Spider-Man was probably the exception. Peter was what little bit I kept up with it. Peter was pretty standard heroic in it.
And you get later in the thing, Peter could be a dick too. Everybody in Ultimates, that was kind of their thing. They were kind of a dick. When you scratch the surface of them, yeah, they were kind of a dick. Hey, Wolverine tried to kill Cyclops to sleep with Jean Grey. Just all kinds of just.
Hawkeye was a literal, homicidal maniac. He had a body count.
He was an assassin. That's where you get hell. They literally put him in the movie.
Yeah.
Black Widow did turn out to be a double agent and all that shit, like she did in the book.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I liked coming out of Ultimates that bled over into the MCU was they gave MCU Cap Ultimate Cap's power level. I did like that.
Yeah. But managed to keep him squeaky clean.
Yeah, they gave him 616's personality with Ultimate's power level.
Now recording.
Yeah. I think Fred left and came back.
Yeah, he dropped off a second ago and I put him back in. But I don't know that I'll need the Craig this go around because it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds much better than that round.
And I'll edit this whole little section out, so no worries. But anyway, we've gotten off on a bit of a Ultimates tangent.
Yeah. But then again, the Ultimates kind of bred a whole lot of retconning.
Yeah.
So it still kind of fits because
Mhm.
they retconned a lot of Ultimate stuff in, and that made people kind of mad at first.
You could truthfully look at that whole universe as a big retcon, because that was their thing. Was they basically went, okay, we're gonna redo Marvel for the modern audience, and that's where Ultimates comes from. And it's kind of comic book creators' judgments on society, basically going, you motherfuckers don't know what heroes are anymore. But where you had the Ultimates that they could funnel kind of all that negativity into, now they just channel it into the main damn books.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at current day Marvel, how many heroes do you see?
Not many. It's like somebody I saw on Facebook was talking about this particular topic with the Fantastic Four and stuff. He said, I've gotten to the point now where I just root for the bad guys because the heroes that I grew up with aren't heroes anymore.
Hell, that was me with this run of X-Men. When I was reading House of X, and they made the assault on the Orcus base, and I was pulling for the anti-mutant humans, I was like, this thing has jumped the shark. Because I'm literally sitting there pulling for the people because they're the underdogs.
Yeah. Well,
And to take it back to the subject, that's the reason why they keep having to have these gimmicks and relaunches and new number ones, is because the heart and soul of the Cape and Cowl style of comics, where they were heroes, and they can't get these damn things to last 2 years without having to do some stupid gimmick or a complete reboot.
Mm-hmm.
And since we're on X-Men for the moment, the storyline before House of X, where Cyclops had like a closet team of X-Men he had like rummaged together, I was really enjoying that storyline.
Well, it's two.
Because he was trying to be a hero again.
But see, that's just it. The heroic Cyclops is boring, and people don't like him. They like the militant Cyclops. I mean, that's the truth.
I wonder, truthfully, if this isn't just a reflection of how society is going, where everybody becomes more extremist.
It is. It's people like extremists.
Well, it's like Todd always says. He liked Captain America because Captain America was better than the country he represented. Well, you got Hydra Cap, who basically represented the country that we kind of become, or you lift the rock up and you see.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden you've got old Cap again, and he's fighting an uphill battle. People don't like him. It's like, okay, that
Yet
right
they like
there.
yet the Chris Evans version of the movies is very popular.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the people don't like him or maybe it's the writers. Like I said, I don't know how much of it is just a reflection of the people and how much of it is specifically the writers don't believe in heroes, so they're not very good at writing them.
Well, the thing is, what you see in Cap, the comic book, is Marvel editorial.
Yes.
Marvel editorial right now, and hell, probably for about the past 5 years, they ain't real crazy about men. It's a male character. They don't like male characters. If you read Cap's book, the current run of it, his name's on it. Hell, this is much about Sharon Carter, and they brought back Peggy Carter, and you had this whole team of women called the Lady Liberators and all that kind of shit. And you sit there going, I don't mind having them in there, but it's a Captain America book. If I wanted to read about, if you want to write a story, because it's Coates. It's the same dude that ruined Black Panther.
Yeah.
And it's the same shit. And it's like, if the character is male, well, the way we fix that is by basically covering him up with a bunch of women while keeping his name on the marquee. And it's kind of like, yeah,
Bait swap. Or bait switch.
Yeah. You know, if I go to McDonald's, it's because I want a hamburger. Don't hand me a taco. It's
Yeah, Burger King tried that. It failed miserably.
yeah, and much like Marvel Comics, it's failing miserably.
Hey, as long as the libraries keep buying them, they'll stay in business.
But you know, it's sad that they can't come up with a sandbox kind of theory where everybody gets to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hopefully that's
like
what
I said,
DC's trying here soon. But
that's the reason why you keep having to have these damn stupid ass gimmicks. Well, he's not a mutant. Well, okay, that's fine. Well, let's create the new Warriors. That's not gonna work.
and
Yeah,
then the next writer that comes in will make him a mutant again.
yeah.
But
It's not
But
something
this
that
one
you have.
specifically, they pulled in their guy that's really good at it. Like, hey, you know how to make fans really pissed off, right? Oh yeah, I'm real good at that.
We were talking before we start recording. That's Slot's motto. An enraged fan is an engaged fan. He doesn't care if you like it or not. He only cares that you're talking about it. The fact that we're sitting here talking about it, that's a win for him.
Yeah. Now let's be fair. From what little bit I saw, but I didn't read it thoroughly. The Superior Octopus or the Superior Spider-Man stuff sounded like an interesting story.
It was, but
It's one you knew wasn't going to be or you knew Ock wasn't going to hang around as Spider-Man. But...
Yeah.
So he may at least be a decent writer in addition to just doing the gimmicks.
Yeah, that Superior Spider-Man was one of them that when he first did it, there was this thing. It was huge outrage. Sweet God in heaven, what you doing? You're killing Peter Parker. This is a whole bunch of crap. But when you read the story, it was actually kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
The downside was it all ended up, when you read the thing in totality, it's basically a redemption story for Doc Ock. Who, when he brings Doc Ock back, he completely gets rid of that.
Yeah. Well,
And then
that's the flaw, too, is Doc Ock's
and then,
quote-unquote
and then he
evil
gives it
because he's
again.
brain damaged. So if he
But
jumps
then
into
he gives it
Spider-Man's
again.
body, he should be better.
Yeah. But then he gives it again. It's a redemption story, and then he comes back and he's a villain again, and then he tells the same redemption story all over again.
That's kind of lazy writing.
That's the trick. If being Spider-Man had redeemed him like he was at the end of that. At the end of that, that's because he gives Peter the body back. He's like, yeah, I thought I could be better than you, and I'm not. Because he goes up against Norman. He goes up against Norman Osborn as the Goblin King. And Anna, the little lady that Ock is so infatuated with. Her life is in danger, and Ock can't save her. He can't figure out how Norman operates. And that's his thing. He gives Peter the body back. Is like, all I ask is that you save her. I realize now you're the superior Spider-Man. Well, Ock goes through all this kind of stuff and gets a clone body back. He's a douchebag again. In fact, he works for Hydra during the whole Secret Empire thing.
Yeah.
And then he works with the Jackal, and then ends up cloning himself another body that's part him and part Peter. So you got the Superior Octopus running around now. Which is, Doc Ock's mind in a melded body of himself and Peter. So he don't look the same, and he's got spider powers.
But he frames it like octopus powers.
Yeah.
Which truthfully, a lot of that could potentially make sense together.
Well, it made sense in this. The thing that killed him was the fact that he was a normal guy, get punched by superpowered people, and that accumulated damage finally took its toll on his body and killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So he cloned himself a stronger body.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, you gonna run around and do that, get punched in the grill by somebody who can pick up a truck, you might want to be able to take that punch.
And they had already, set a precedence because that's what the Red Skull did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skull's been in 2 or 3 clone bodies.
Usually of Cap.
Yep. Well, he's back in Alexander Lutkin now. Every time Lutkin goes to sleep, he has all kinds of Nazi dreams.
Fun.
Oopsie. I think when you brought me back, you brought back some dead Nazi in my head. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, crap happens.
All right.
But I think we've. Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
We've firmly left Franklin behind in this conversation. I think.
Well, it was always going to be about the gimmicks in general.
Well, the thing is, it's never going to be all about Franklin. It's kind of going to be about the gimmicks, the knockoffs.
And then when we really derailed, it was still kind of going into the root causes of some of these gimmicks and stunts. But yeah, I think we've beaten this horse enough.
You start to rely on gimmicks when you can't.
Story that people liked.
Yeah. So they cover that up with either a new number one or before the Franklin thing. What was it? 2 weeks ago, the big thing was Kitty Pryde comes out as bisexual. That was the big news out of. See, she's been and it's like, give a shit.
Yeah, I don't read comic book. I could care less. About that.
I was already creeped out by the 5-point star that is the Jean Grey, Wolverine, Cyclops, Emma Frost, now apparently Storm pentagram. I'm good.
That's a whole nother level of stunt. That's stunts out of desperation, I think, just trying to get some attention. But anyway, we don't have time to go into that. We're gonna wrap here. Usually I invite comments at this point, but I don't know what anybody would necessarily have to add.
Our condolences from our boy born in '68.
Yeah.
See you later.
But if you've got some comment to make, something you think we should have pointed out and didn't, or something you'd like to point out, let us know in the comments below. You can hit us up at thenerdeternal@gmail.com. You can hit us up at Facebook at thenerdeternal, Twitter at thenerdeternal. And we don't get a lot of mail, so
Just Google Nerd-a-Ton. We'll show up somewhere.
You can send all your hate mail to CDL113, who is a year older but still hates women.
I do not hate women. I do not hate women. I'm married to a woman.
A likely story. That's just your excuse.
Or he just knows he's a pain, and that's why he married her.
I will inflict this on one woman.
No, I'm pretty sure I married her because I love her, Why she ever agreed, I don't know.
Oh, see, now he's calling her dumb.
No.
See, I told you.
I always tell her she keeps me around to get the stuff off the top shelf. She don't agree with me.
Cancel the droid. # cancel the droid.
And we're gonna pop out with that.